So, my name is Muhammad and I've been training for over 3 years now, consistently. In this video, I'll share with you exactly how you can get low-key jacked. And here's the thing, I'm gonna teach how you can get low-key jacked from any starting point, whether you're fat, skinny, or just skinny fat. Okay? And this video will be mainly split into two sections. The first section will be the training, and the second section will be the diet, so you can get low-key jacked. Right? Anyways, before we start, quickly, the first link in the description, you will find the full in-depth program. Okay? And let's start. So now, when it comes to the training, there are going to be three things. Okay? Of course, we already know the basics and all, training consistently and all. Of course, we know that. But here are the three tips that I have for you, which are actually important that you might be making. Okay? So the first thing for the training, and also for the training, it's gonna be the same whatever point you are. Okay, like if you're skinny, if you're fat, if you're skinny fat, the training is always gonna stay the same. Okay, you must remember that. And now, the first thing, the volume. Look, bro, there has been this trend, I don't know how to start, but there has been this trend where to do just low volume, and now this trend kind of gives you the vibe of like being a minimalist and just not wasting your time, and putting low effort and getting high results, or like the 80-20 Pareto principle, right? But that's actually wrong, because bro, when you're doing low volume is usually, what do you think like low volume is used for? Low volume, people train low volume when they're like, for example, on a holiday or something, they're trying to maintain their gains, trying to maintain their muscle. They're not trying to build muscle. You are watching this, you want to build muscle and all, okay? So obviously you shouldn't be doing the low volume training style. Of course not, because low volume is like for like retaining muscle, right? You want to maintain your muscle, right? But then now, how much do you do? Like, what about the volume? Like, what's the correct path? With the volume, my advice to you is not to go too high and not to go too low. Keep it in the middle, okay? That's for the volume. Nothing too high, nothing too low. Okay? And now let's talk about the second tip about the training, which is the intensity. Bro, my advice with the intensity is kinda controversial, but it is what actually works. Okay, like in real life, it is what actually works. Okay? For the intensity, I want you to do this. For every single set you do, you go to failure. I know you've heard reps in reserve, no. Go to failure on every single set. Trust me, okay? And now, when you go to failure, how do you know if you reached failure? You reach failure while going in good form. For example, let's say you're doing dumbbell bench press, right? You're doing the set and everything. Okay. Now, when you're getting towards your last reps, when do you stop? You stop when you can't do a single rep. Like, you're done. You can't. You just can't. But that doesn't mean you break your form to... No. Like, bro, the way to know that you've reached failure is basically when you can't do another rep while being in good form, right? So for example, just like I said, you're doing the dumbbell bench press. If you can't do like another rep, you just can't, you're done. Don't try to do, no, don't do that. Don't do like anything crazy, you might injure yourself. So bro, basically my advice for you is to reach failure while being in good form. Never ever break your form, bro. Trust me, never break your form. Because bro, if you break it and try to go to failure, there's a high chance you might injure yourself and like be out of training for like months, right? And you don't want that. Stay in good form and go to failure in good form, okay? And now, let's talk about the third tip when it comes to the training, which is progressive overload. And now bro, look, when it comes to the training, you have to progressively overload properly, okay? So here's like a system you can follow, okay? Choose a rep range. Okay, whatever you do, choose a rep range. Let's say, for example, your current, rep range is 8 till 12. Okay, you do 8 to 12 reps for all exercises. If you can't do 8, that means the weight is too high, right? So you reduce the weight, so you can do 8 to 12, right? And now you're gonna start with an exercise that you can do 8 reps in with a certain weight. Let's say you're doing dumbbell bicep curls. You can do 5 kilogram bicep curls. Okay. You can do only 5 kilograms for like 9 reps. Okay, next session or next week, try to push to 9 reps. Next session, 10 reps. And you keep going until you hit the end of your rep range, which is, in our example, 12 reps. When you hit 12 reps, you can finally increase the weight. So now you go to 7.5 and you can do 8 reps. And that's how you progressively overload properly. Apply the same logic to all of your exercises. Okay? Let's talk about the diet. And now in the diet, this is like where the actual games start, right? Because like if you're fat, you're gonna be doing something else. Skinny fat, Look, let's start what to do if you're fat. Okay? If you're fat, you're gonna be doing the same like principle that I said for the training and all, training consistently and everything. And the diet is like where everything changes. Okay? So for the diet, if you're fat, you're gonna be eating less. Okay. And now, when you're eating less, you're not gonna be like starving yourself and like eating too low. No, no, don't do that. You're gonna be eating, okay, obviously less, but keeping your protein high and everything. So basically, you'd be losing weight and everything, but like nothing too crazy, like trying to lose as much weight as possible. No, don't do that. Try to lose the weight in like, a moderate approach, nothing too crazy, and lose the weight in a moderate approach while keeping your protein high and training consistently and all. Okay, this way you maintain your muscle or possibly build muscle if you're new. And like that's the way when it comes to like if you're starting fat. Okay. And now here's what to do if you're skinny. Obviously you're gonna be training with the same principles and all, but the diet's gonna be a bit different. You're gonna go on a lean bulk. Why not like a usual bulk? Because most people think like a usual bulk is just like eat whatever and eat like a child and just eat as much as possible, gain as much weight so you can gain muscle. No, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do a lean bulk. And now, how do you do a lean bulk? Like, what's the difference? Basically, a lean bulk is where you're gonna be gaining the weight slowly. And you might ask, how slow? 1 to 2 kilograms for the whole month. Okay? 1 to 2 kilograms for the whole month that you're gonna be gaining, while obviously training consistently and all. And that's it if you're skinny. And now, what to do if you're skinny fat? If you're skinny fat, it might be a bit confusing, okay? If you're skinny fat, but like you have a really high body fat percentage, my advice to you is to go on a small cut for like a month and then go back to lean bulking. And if you're skinny fat, but like your body fat is like kinda low, I would say just straight start lean bulking. Okay. The same method for the skinny person, 1 to 2 kilograms for the whole month while training consistently and everything. Okay? And bro, if you want the full program in depth and all, you can go down to the first link in the description where you will find Get Lowkey Jacked. If you click on the link, you will go to Muhammad's Empire, which is basically my premium community where you get access to the Lowkey Jacked course, which is like a full-on video course in depth and like sharing my own methods and everything. And also you get like a workout routine, weekly calls with me, and like direct access to me and like the whole community. And that's going to be the first link in the description. Join now if you're interested. And that's it. Like, subscribe, all of that. And I'll see you in the next one, brother.